Hello everybody, thanks once again for tuning in. So here we are 300 miles later with the version 3 of the ASICS Novablast. So this shoe came out last year, hyped as by many folks as the shoe of the year. I don't know who does the voting for shoe of the year. I don't think there's any group out there that does it, so I'm thinking maybe it was ASICS. So this is the second ASICS shoe that I've ever worn. The first was a Cumulus, and I did a review on that a couple years back. Currently I have the Nimbus 25 in my rotation. I've got 200 miles on that one, so getting close to 300. We'll be posting a second review. If you're new to the channel, I was doing an initial review, take it out on for a walk, a couple different types of runs, let you know how it is, and then we come back 300 miles later to talk about how well the shoe held up over 300 miles, the wear and tear, so you get a good idea of how many miles you'll get for your money. And we're also always posting our state races as we race around the nation, as well as fun runs. So this is your plug to go ahead and subscribe. For those of you who are subscribed already, we appreciate it. Anyways, let's get back to the Novablast. So this video's featured running trail is the White Oak Creek Greenway, which is here in central North Carolina. Hope you enjoy it. Basics of the Novablast are: it's a neutral running shoe made for road and track running. It's listed as having max cushioning. In my initial review, I said I thought it tended to lean a bit more on the firmer side. We'll talk more about that as we get into the fit. It has 8mm drop, so the heel's 8mm higher than the forefoot. I wear a size 12, weighed in at 9.77 ounces, which is 277 grams. I found the fit true to size. I gave it a B for sustainability. I won't go into all the information because I put that in the initial review. At least they talk about how much recycled content they try to put into the upper material, and the cost $140. I do think it's worth going over the changes in the version 3 from the version 2 because ASICS promoted them as fairly radical changes. First, they made it lighter. They made it lighter by a whole ounce, so that's 30 grams. Second, they said they made it bouncier. Now they did that, they increased foam in both the heel and forefoot. In the FF Blast Plus, ASICS proprietary engineered material that they put in the sole to give you that great balance of cushioning as well as responsiveness. And the other thing they said they did, they put a trampoline pod in the outsole. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but between the additional foam of this FF Blast Plus foam and the trampoline pod is supposed to be bouncier. The third thing they did was this updated tongue design, as you can see here, and we'll talk about that in a little bit more when we talk about the fit. And the fourth thing was the amount of recycled material that they put into the shoe. And last, I can't let this review go by without at least bringing up the design of the side of the heel here, with all these angles, cut angles and grooves. ASICS states that they got their inspiration from a geometric origami feature. I think they got their inspiration from, as Katie in my run group said, from the Hot Wheels, which honestly isn't a bad thing to get your inspiration from either. I found the fit to be solid. One thing I wasn't so much a fan of was the width of this toe box and the way the material was engineered. That, and all the way back through the midfoot, I just felt it was fairly wide. That being said, I often have that issue with shoes. I have narrow feet, but this did not pucker up the material on top when I tightened it. But I just felt not only wide, it was just seemed a little loose on top. But now for the heel, I'm a big fan. I really like the way that they've taken the cushioning. It starts out thin and it reaches its thickest point right at the top of the ankle collar. And then that also extends all the way around the heel. They actually have a little bit more added cushion in the heel. The design was great. It was locked in perfect. Now as for the tongue, you can see that it's one of the laser cut thin ones, which most of the shoes seem to be doing these days. It's non-gusseted, as you can see, non-gusseted here. In the initial impression review, I talked about how cool I thought this cut was, this split tongue, up to be able to stop, because I always have the issue with the tongue for these non-gusseted tongues. They always will seem to slide down like this to me. But once I finished my run, I thought, well, this is going to be great. This is going to stop that problem. It didn't, but it was never an issue. It was just what I get with every non-gusseted tongue. It just slides down a little bit. All in all, as I said, I thought the fit was solid. For the ride, this is one of the shoes where the more I wore it, the more I liked it. As far as the cushioning, when I first started out, I thought it was, even though it's listed as max, I said it's a bit on the firmer side. But then about mile 140, I think whether I broke it in or loosened up a little bit, but I did feel it actually slid down into that max category. So if I go ahead and pop up my graph here, you can see I had it pretty level, hit mile 40, and there was actually an increase in the softness, but then that stayed consistent like that throughout the rest of 300 miles. And as for the responsiveness, I would rate it as slightly above average. I think when it came out, it was so hyped, I maybe set my expectations too high. So I didn't want to say I was disappointed, but I was just expecting more. I felt the responsiveness was very similar no matter what type of run I was doing, whether it was a tempo run or a slow, easy run, recovery run, I felt I got the same amount of responsiveness. So really it was a great shoe in that regard, where you could wear it for any of your runs. I will say I thought there's a slight drop off at about mile 235. So again, looking at the graph, you can see as it was pretty solid up to 235, then we had a slight drop in the responsiveness, but it leveled off again and was solid right all up to 300 miles. For the grip, most all shoes these days have gone to these thin, more outer rubber soles, which I find they're not as good a job on the grip because it's just less surface area contact in the ground. But the Novablast was the exception. It grasped the ground wonderfully, even when I was on that treacherous painted sidewalk, or zebra crossings as they call them over in England. They still gripped really well, as well as some crushed gravel trails, and I even took it on a couple trail runs. As for the wear, I have not worn through any of the outer sole yet. However, as I strike on this outer layer, it has really gotten quite thin here on this strip, so it's starting to fray a little bit on this foam blast. So and you can see how much softer it is. I'm going to give this like another 100 miles before I will have worn through this. So we'll give it a total miles of 400, and given the cost of $140, that's pretty good return for your money. So there you have it, 300 miles on the ASICS Novablast. This is a great daily trainer. It was a victim of its overhypedness for me, but it's above average. It is really a great shoe. Held up great on all different runs. Truly a daily trainer, and you're going to get at least 400 miles out of it. If you've ever worn this shoe or any of the previous versions and you want to add some comments, please do so in the section down below, the comment section down below. It's great when other people can hear about other folks' experience with the shoes, not just mine. Also, we're going to be posting our Jackson, Mississippi Marathon shortly. We may be doing the Berlin Marathon. I know that one we need to get them both posted. Not sure which we're going to make out of production first, but we'll be posting those as well as all the other shoe reviews. So go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you hit that little notification bell, you get a message every time we upload a new video. So thanks again for watching. We certainly appreciate it, and get out there and keep racing the nation.